Good morning. Good morning. I think by now we understand why I'm pushing to change the rules, why I want to be a governor that gives citizens a lot more power over their elected officials. Because over the weekend, we saw Deputy Attorney General Ty Blanche pretty much say, doesn't matter what happened to all those people, there's nobody who did that. And we all know that's a lie. But you ever met the type of liar where if you don't ask the question with the exact details of what you don't know, then they can spin it any kind of way they want to. So when the reporter asks the question, are we going to go after the men who hurt these girls? Deputy Todd Badger's like, what men are you talking about? This is indicative of someone saying, well, it wasn't just girls, it was also boys. It wasn't just men who were helping, it was also women, right? If you don't ask that question to a liar the exact right way, but this is because the rules are showing us that it doesn't work. We had a president of the United States that says, hey, we can't lower housing prices because it hurts the people who are in the houses. Look, can we just be clear? If they raise the amount, which they already do, the amount of your home, the only way you have that money is if you borrow against that. Until you borrow against it, you don't have anything except for debt waiting on you. Citizens are trying to get into homes, but if we never get that down, we will never. We are heading, we're on the path towards never being able to own homes in our future. Because again, these rules are not working. We cannot tell these people no. We're watching judges give out judgments that say, okay, I'm not going to do anything about this ICE thing, but it doesn't mean I won't do something in the future. Man, what on earth are you? We're having a problem even passing laws that say that the people who are supposed to enforce the law need to show their faces so anybody can't dress up like the person who's taking people. Why is that difficult? Because the rules allow for it to be difficult. I'm imploring you. I'm not gonna beg you. I'm that's not the that's not why I'm not begging you to do something for you. I'm telling you that you need to sit with yourself and say, hey, I have a candidate that if I go to Glover2026.com, he has a petition. I just need to download it. I need to go to some library. If I don't have a printer, I need to get it downloaded. I just have to date it, sign my name, and put my county on it and just turn it into the supervisor elections office and give him a chance to change the rules so that our future we can do something because we're going to keep dealing with what's happening in the present, but we need to think really hard about our future. Ladies and gentlemen, if indeed, like some people say, we are in a civil war, if that is the case, and you do have citizens that are ready to go out there and protect themselves from tyranny, if that is the case, what comes after the protection? We're still going to have to address the rules. This is why there are multiple pathways to do this. And the pathway that I'm talking about is changing those rules now. So that's the pathway that I am on until I'm dragged into something else. This isn't going to get better if we do not change the rules. We can change these people. But if these people are going to operate under the same rules, the influence of knowing that you can take advantage of all of us citizens, it's apparently too big. And they do not have the integrity or moral character to do the right thing because the influence is too strong to be wicked, to be negative, to always want to get this money. The influence of separating themselves from hardship. Because we know if there was a government shutdown, who did it hurt? It hurt everybody who was working. They either fired you or told you had to work for free. The people who put the government shutdown in place never felt that pain because it's in the rules. Now, tons of citizens were like, well, we should, they should not be working either, or they should lose their paychecks. It's not in the rules. And you don't have access to the rules to make it a rule. That's why I'm trying to attack this at its core problem since our inception of the Constitution has been that there is not wording in the Florida Constitution or the United States of America's Constitution that is for the citizens to have power over our elected officials. You cannot keep thinking that the power we have is only for voting who we put in because you have to give them too much time to do the wrong thing. That's why we have to close that gap. We really need to close that gap. So I'm really asking you to sit with yourselves and see if, hey, he keeps telling us that there are no rules to give us access. We're going to go out here and protest. We're going to go out here and say no. But what is that supposed to really do? Did I get a vote on the legislation that passed even though I protest? Because how many protests have happened where the legislation has passed anyway? Why would that be? Well, it wasn't enough people. Go out there and look at the number of protesters you need to pass legislation. Guarantee you it's not a rule that says if you get 100,000 people to protest, we're going to pass legislation this way. That's not in the rules. Protest and awareness do not test power. Protest and awareness do not test power. This is because power already understands what's going on. We're going to do something to move that power. I'm going to move that power into the hands of the majority and then allow the majority to do what they need to do with that power. Things need to change, not just people. Rules need to change. Help me do that. You guys have a great day.